Hey, what's going on, guys, and welcome to another episode of Cutting Up with Uncle Mel. This episode, we are going to talk about pole mounting. Some people may be like, what is pole mounting? Pole mounting is what people do when they're trying to get you to perform what it is that you do for a living, whether it be services or goods, but they're trying to get it at a discount. Now, this is not really a problem in the white community, but niggas tend to do this pretty often. So, before we even get into the show, I want you guys to think about, have you ever been poor mouthed? Or have you ever been the person that was trying to poor mouth someone else? And I need you to leave a comment. All right, let's do it for the algorithm. All right, let's go and get into the show. And here we go. Let's get into it. Hey, 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 cut up Uncle Mel. Cut up Uncle Mel. How you cutting up? Oh, you be pole mountain? Let's stop pole mountain. Let's stop pole mountain. Hey, man, this for all you pole mountain ass motherfuckers out there, man. Chill out with that. Pay like you weigh. Pay what you owe. Okay? So, like I said, I was introduced to this term, this pole mountain term, back in 2016. I had two clients, two twin brothers, and they were Uber drivers. And they put me up in the game. I'm like, man, how y'all be getting all this money from Uber? They're like, oh, easy. We be pole mounting. I'm like, man, what is that? And they was like, well, really they charge back, right? So it's what some people might know as a chargeback. Just another way to be a scammer, honestly. Like, for example, one of the twins would tell Uber that one of his passengers threw up in the vehicle, even whether they did or didn't, or if the passenger actually did throw up, they'll pay you based on, the severity of the incident, right? And so they would actually have pictures of a car that had been thrown up in saved in their phone. They would turn it into Uber, and Uber would end up, paying them back. I guess what you could call a chargeback. And so what brings me to this topic is that something that happened to me recently was, okay, so a little backstory. I gotta go back in order to come forward. So y'all check me out. In 2020, I moved into this neighborhood, pretty nice neighborhood. And I'm a sociable guy, right? Most of my subscribers, you guys have actually met me in person, so you know that about me already. And so I had my clients come in here to the house to get their haircuts after the barbershop had closed. And some of my neighbors noticed that I cut hair. They would see me, cutting hair in the garage where they drive down the street. I didn't really even notice that anybody was paying attention. Now, quite naturally, I wanted my neighbors to see, so, try to build some clientele. Duh, right? And one day, one of my neighbors asked me, hey, man, how much you charge for a haircut? Now, honestly, I cannot remember exactly what I told the person. I do not know, because it was 2020, and 2020 was a difficult year for most people. And most of us don't want to remember it. So certain shit just didn't stick in my mind. So fast forward to 2021. Okay. The guy finally said, hey man, you cutting? I'm like, yeah, you come over and grab a cut. I got some other people coming, but I could get to you before I get to them. So the guy comes over and he's sitting down in a chair and cutting his hair and, being my personable self, as I always am. And then my other clients show up and they waiting their turn. So the guy gets up and I, tell him what the cost of the cut is. And, he kind of like, man, I thought you told me such and such. I'm like, man, look, this is the price. I can't tell you what I told you. All I know is for a fact is that you asked me last year and you come to me now. And I can't remember what I told you last year, but I know what my price is and I know how long my price has been my price. So he pays the price reluctantly, after a little bit of bitching and complaining, kind of like a child would do. And, he goes on about his way. So when I told him the price out loud. And if he noticed, nobody walked away. Nobody got in their cars and left, because all of my clients who were there, they know my price. So fast forward months, like right now it's the fall. While I'm recording this video, it's the fall, and that happened during the summer. And so he hit me up about a week ago and was like, hey man, I need a cut, but I done had the whole thing. I'm like, man, well, you just holler at me when you get straight. And he was like, man, I need a cut, man. I'm like, well, I'm here. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, all right, man, I'll be over there. I say, you come about 30 minutes. And I sat in the garage for a little while, while doing other things, left the garage door open to kind of like show, hey, come on in or whatever. The chair's right there. Just hop on in or whatever. And he never came. So, okay, no harm, no foul. Go ahead and close my garage door. Then he hit me up a week later, which is the current week that we're in. And he was like, hey, man, I need to cut, man, but all I got is $20. I'm like, man, I can't do it for $20, bro. I can't. He said, come on, man, you neighbor, bro. You got to look out for a man, a neighbor. I'm like, I can't do that, man. I said, I'll be taking the loss. He said, what you mean be taking the loss? I'm like, man, I have children to feed. Like, I got 2 children. Like, I do. And thinking to myself, like, you have a child. You fucking understand the responsibility of providing for a family. You have a child and a wife, bro. Just thinking to myself, I didn't tell him that part, but I'm just thinking, because the audacity, right? And he was like, man, I understand, bro. He's like, because he's a truck driver. He got his own truck, right? He got a designated route with a company. He was like, yeah, man, I understand, man, because normally I'll do a route, I'll do a drop for like $400, but sometimes I'll do it for $100 because I look at it like I'm still making money. If you can afford to do something for $100 that you normally do for $400, and you can look at it like you're still making money, that means you taxing the piss out of that company to begin with, which means you are a get over, or you just dumb as fuck to do what you do for 25% of the normal rate. And you got to understand with Uncle Mel, y'all, the way my mind worked, I kind of go down this rabbit hole because one thing always makes me think about something else. I guess it's kind of like that comedic sense that I have. Just call me Alice in Wonderland, right? The way she fell down that fucking rabbit hole. If I'm the son, daughter, or whatever, because he has a daughter, of this man, or the wife, the spouse of this man, for me to know that you would take a $400 load and do it for $100, and we depend on you to keep our lifestyle, to keep us afloat above water, to keep us under this roof, that would really, it would really scare me. It would piss me off, right? But it would scare me also because I would be like, am I really secure with this motherfucker? I understand, okay, there's already, like, everybody has a cap on what they can make on the job, right? So there's already a ceiling that he can't make it through on, driving that truck. And you mean to tell me that you're going to even come further away from the ceiling and closer to the floor by doing that for 25% of what the normal rate is? Can't do it. And I explained this to my wife. I told my wife, I said, look, my neighbor want me to cut his hair for $20. And she was like, well, did you give him the discount? I'm like, no. I said, are you fucking crazy? She was like, but it's still money. I'm like, well, damn, that's the same thing he said. I said, but let me ask you this, babe. I said, do you think the landlord of that apartment that you have, that I pay for, that we're renting, do you think that landlord will take less money for that because it's still money? You know what I heard? Crickets. That's what the fuck I heard. Because, see, when you make it real, right? When you make it real for a motherfucker, then they understand. It's still money. Can you go to the bank realistically and say, hey, I know the car note on this Porsche that I have, or the Lexus that his wife has, is $600, $700, $800, $500 a month, but I only got $250. It's still money. Them people gonna be like, man, if you don't bring us our fucking car, so we don't have to waste the time to send the tow truck man to go get the shit. You see what I'm saying? And it really pisses me off because it's only black people that do, or should I say, I'm sorry, it's only niggas that do this shit. Cause see, black people wouldn't do this. Like, this is a nice neighborhood. that we live in back here. The houses back here that people are actually renting out, rent for at least like $1,600 a month. You see what I'm saying? So I don't expect that from this neighbor. You see what I'm saying? And the guy wants me to give him a discount because we just so happen to live across the street from each other. It's not my fault you live across the street from me, man. You know? In all actuality, you know, what you'll find out in later on episodes, I'm not really his neighbor. I just so happen to live in his house. This ain't even my house. I'm not your neighbor, man. I just live over here. You see what I'm saying? And like I told the dude, like, man, I have children to feed. Like, one thing that I would never do, I would never ask someone who has children to give me a deal when I know that they work for themselves, right? You don't work for this big company or whatever. You only, when you're an entrepreneur, especially on a small level with a small business like myself, you only eat what you kill. You only eat what you kill. And when you get into business, what you do is you say, hey, let me see what the market calls for. What is the price of the, in my case, for the average haircut? And then you may set your price based on that. And then, you know, you find out, okay, I'm a little better at this than the average barber in the area. So I'm going to charge this price and this, that, and the third. But one thing about me is I always give people their money's worth. So how can I charge you any less or accept any less? Can I give you less quality is what I need to know. If I can charge you, if you can give me $20, do you still expect the level of work that you've seen me produce? Do you want to be as fresh as I can possibly make you? Right? And then the guy was like, man, look, I got my own clippers and $20. What's up? Bro, I can't promise you that this haircut is going to be quality if I use your tools, if I use your clippers. Because see, anybody who works with tools, you know that once you've used your tools for so long, it actually becomes an extension of yourself. It becomes an extension of your hands. It's like my hands stop where the clipper ends. Where that guard or that blade is where my actual hand stop. My other hand stops at the end of that comb or that brush or that neck duster or that bottle of alcohol. Those are actually my hands. Those are not tools anymore after so much time. I wouldn't expect to be able to go to a mechanic and even say, hey, Mr. Mechanic, I'll give you full price, but I need you to use my tools. This guy's tool may come from Home Depot or AutoZone, and my tools may come from Harbor Freight. I can't promise that this guy can't promise me that, you know, my alternator, my fan belt, and everything's going to be tacked on properly if he didn't use his own tools. Because anybody who works with tools, you know that there's a different type of calibration for your tools than other people's tools. I mean, this is fact. And I just don't understand why, you know, niggas are like this. I don't understand it. You know, when you don't live in the hood, you tend to not expect hood shit to happen, right? And this is real disappointing for me. It's kind of like when I first started going to Atlanta and I realized that Atlanta has niggas too. When I was just expecting, when you hear about Atlanta and black people in Atlanta and you know that it's black Mecca, and you see these very successful companies, maybe some Fortune 500 companies, and they have black people in high positions. You have a lot of doctors and lawyers and, you know, obviously musicians, but I'm talking about, you know, just like real high value people who make moves behind the scenes that are not entertainers. Atlanta is known for that, right? But when you go there and see that, hey, it's just like any other place. For me, I don't know about for you guys if you've ever been there, but it was real disappointing. It was truly disappointing. And, you know, like I told my wife, I said, hey, you want to own your own business one day, but I'm really going to have to catch you up to speed on what it is to be an entrepreneur, because she would give someone a discount because she looking at it as like, hey, it's still money, you know. But in her country, you know, I've gotten my hair cut in barbershops there. Those guys are getting $2-3 per haircut. So quite naturally, yes, she's looking at $20 like it's a lot of money, but I'm like, no, it's not. It's not here. The fucking gas prices are through the roof right now. I don't even like moving my goddamn car. I thought about working out at home instead of going to the gym just because the gym is so far from where I live and with the gas prices. So I'm looking at it like, if I'm at that point, the last thing I'm going to do is give anybody a goddamn discount. And I was talking to some of my friends, and one of my friends was like, hey, man, you really shouldn't have had to explain this to the guy. But I'm like, no, it's necessary, because in the black community, we are not being taught inside the home how to be consumers. We taught how to spend money, right? Hey, take this dollar, go to the store and bring me back a loose cigarette or some shit, right? We taught how to do that. But we are not taught how to have respect for a person's place of business. Like, hey, you drop something on the floor, pick it up, put it back on the shelf. Even, put the basket where they go, after you get done shopping, stuff like that. Even something as simple as ringing the bell when you go to the desk rather than yelling like, hey, is anybody here? Just stuff like that. It's just having respect for the local business owner, for the small business owner. So that's not being taught in the home, because when the guy was like, hey, man, you told me this price. And I told the guy, I said, hey, I can't remember what I told you or what I didn't tell you, but let's say I did. Let's say I did tell you $20. That was in 2020 for sure. This much I know. Do you expect the price to be the same in 2021? After I've went through the worst year and damn near, since slavery, just like anybody else, like this is pretty much like the most fucked up year since freedom. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you don't think that maybe just like these airlines and these oil companies, people trying to recoup money that they lost. So do you really expect me to do that for the same price? I mean, do you go to Walmart and say, hey, the cost of milk was $2.38 for a half gallon last week, and now it's $2.49. Like, what's going on? Do you go to the white man's place of business and tell him what it should cost? Do you go to the gas station and tell the Arabic man or the African person or the East Indian person, hey, gas was $2.78 a gallon a week ago when I got gas, and now it's $3.09? Them people gonna look at you like either you're gonna get this fucking gas or you're not. You're gonna get the fuck out of my store. They're not going through that. And I'm sick of black people with this niggerish attitude, always wanting to get a discount for somebody. And he says because we neighbors, but keep it real, y'all. It's because we both black men. Come on now. It's our color. Hey, man, come on, man. Look out for your dog. Bro, for one, I don't know you like that. I've been living in this neighborhood a little over a year. We ain't shoot marbles together. And if anybody know me, I was never good at shooting marbles. I was more a jacks kind of guy, I fuck with the jacks. You know what I mean? I was more a big wheel type of motherfucker. I ain't shoot marbles with damn near nobody. I was playing with Nerf guns, putting tacks on the end of them, And the guys that I grew up with, they have enough respect for me not to even ask me for no discount. Come on, man. And I take that personally offensive for somebody to do that because I love what I do and I respect barbers, and I wish that people had more respect for barbers. And, we go through enough bullshit, because if I fuck up your haircut, at the least, you probably won't come back. Barbers are known for getting in fights with people when they fuck up the haircut. So you think I'm about to do this shit and take a chance to get into a tussle with you for, I don't know, maybe you move or you sneeze while I'm lining you up and now you're lying and push back and it's, all of a sudden it's my fault? I'm not doing that shit for no goddamn $20, man. And listen, let me tell y'all something. Let me toot my own horn a little bit. I was the first black business owner to be housed, not necessarily to do business with, but to be housed at Louisiana State University, which is a PWI, predominantly white institution. I used to be the barber to Odell Beckham Jr., one of the best wide receivers that anybody has ever seen, along with Jarvis Landry, Brad Wing, Jordan Jefferson, you know what I'm saying, Jeremy Hill, I've cut celebrities from Nino Brown, 305, to Trader Truth, to Gary Owen, to DMX. I've cut rock band artists like something pussy. I forgot the name of that group, but it was at the Voodoo Festival, whatever. I've cut celebrity jewelers. You know what I'm saying? I've paid my dues in this industry to where there's no way in hell I'm going to go back financially when I am actually going into the prime of my life when it comes to earning potential. I'm at the age to where I'm supposed to be leveling up and increasing, and it would be fucking stupid of me. Now, it's one thing for somebody to try to play me like a duck, but it's another thing for me to quack. You understand what I'm saying? And so I just want to put this out there for anybody who's paying their dues and going into entrepreneurship. You have to know your value. You have to know your value. The same way people act like they know their value in romantic relationships, you have to know your value in business relationships. You have to know. You have to know. So listen, like I said at the beginning of this little broadcast here, make sure you guys leave a comment for the algorithm, please. All right, and make sure you subscribe if you're not, because the algorithm is telling me that most of the people watching my content are not subscribers, and most of my subscribers, I see y'all at the gym now. All right, so look, make sure y'all subscribe, leave a comment, hit the notification bell, and check out some of my earlier videos. Of course, I got a lot of great content coming to you guys in the near future. All right, this your boy Uncle Mel. All I want to know is, how long you been cutting?